In the heart of the Whispering Woods, where moonbeams wove secrets into ancient oaks, a child was born, his name Ivan Gora. On the night of his birth, the sky was alive with a meteor shower, a celestial spectacle that seemed almost too magical to be real, as if the universe had orchestrated this moment. Stars streaked across the sky, casting a divine light over the forest. From Ivan Gora's first breath, it was clear he was no ordinary child. His eyes held galaxies within them, their depths shimmering with stardust. His cries harmonized with the night wind, creating an ethereal melody that resonated through the forest. The elders of the Whispering Woods whispered tales of old, where legends spoke of children touched by the constellations. They knew Ivan was special. Ivan Gora's birth was a celestial event. The stars had aligned, and the universe had bestowed gifts that defied explanation upon him. He was destined for greatness, a beacon of hope in a world shrouded in mystery, a child touched by the constellation. And so, in the heart of the Whispering Woods, under the watchful gaze of the ancient oaks and the twinkling stars, Ivan Gora grew. So did his powers. He was a child of the stars, a celestial being with a gift beyond imagination. Ivan Gora's connection to the cosmos only deepened. He could summon fireflies to light his path and mend wounded birds with a touch. He had luminous symbols that etched into his skin. The beauty of it intrigued him. Each symbol held a fragment of forgotten magic. His grandmother, wise and weathered by time, revealed their purpose. "Ivan Gora," she said, "these symbols are your birthright. They connect you to realms beyond our own." Ivan Gora's journey was just beginning, and with every step his powers grew stronger. His world was rich with enchantment, but it wasn't just about the magic. It was about the responsibility that came with it. His grandmother told him tales of past celestial beings, those who had come before him. Their stories were filled with wonders, but also with caution. "Use your powers wisely, Ivan Gora," she would say, "for with great power comes great responsibility." The Whispering Woods was Ivan Gora's safe haven. His presence brought calm to the wildest storms and could coax 1,000 flowers to bloom. The animals of the forest revered him, sensing the magic that flowed through his veins. They moved to his internalized commands. He learned to communicate with the forest, understanding the whispers of the trees and the songs of the birds. Every creature, every plant, they all had a story to tell. Like a typical kid filled with wild imaginations and dreams, Ivan Gora explored the hidden caves, mountains, hills, and valleys. On his 5th birthday, Ivan Gora climbed the tallest oak tree. The moon hung low, casting silver threads upon the forest floor. With a whispered incantation, he unfurled his wings, the magnificent feathers woven from moonlight. At that moment, the night embraced him, and he soared, leaving earthly worries behind. He danced with birds and traced constellations. While he danced, his eyes caught a glimpse of a fairy figure, adorned with beautiful rays of light, forming ethereal strands over her hair. The enchanted figure, Lady Sonora, the spectral guardian of the veil. She embodies ethereal grace. Her form is translucent, a delicate interplay of moonlight and mist. Her eyes, like deep pools of ancient wisdom, they held secrets spanning decades. Her demeanor is both solemn and compassionate, as if she bears the weight of existence itself. In her presence, Ivan Gora felt the pull of destiny, a cosmic thread woven through time and space. "Ivan Gora," she called out, "the one bestowed with the highest responsibility and power to mend and protect the Veil. The one who will prevent the chaos set to seep through the realms." And in that moment, his journey unfolded across landscapes that defied mortal imagination. He crossed the Silver Sea, where water creatures sang forgotten lullabies. He scaled the crystal peaks, where ice dragons guarded ancient secrets. In the whispering desert, he deciphered cryptic riddles etched in sandstorms. And at the heart of the Veil, where reality and dream converged, he discovered the Prism Nexus. Its crystalline core pulsed with fractured light, each piece representing an elemental force. Fire, a blaze that consumed and transformed. Water, fluid and ever-changing, reflecting the moon's silver glow. Earth, solid and ancient, bearing the weight of ages. Air, breath of life, carrying whispers from distant realms. They all came together to activate Ivan Gora's magical essence, a spark of creation itself. The village, which had always been a place filled with laughter, where crystal rivers sang ancient songs, suddenly became a gloomy zone. A shadow has befallen the once vibrant blue sky, and now choked with a swelling gray cloud of darkness. Ivan Gora felt the change. The darkness felt different. It whispered of a power beyond anything he knew. The faces of the elders laced with worry lines. They spoke in hushed tones. They talked of an imbalance, the fracture of the Veil, the magical barrier that protected their world from the realm of shadows. Their words were just whispers to Ivan Gora, fragments of stories he didn't understand. But one name cut through the whispers like a shard of ice. The name itself sent shivers down Ivan Gora's spine. They were creatures of legends spoken of only in hushed tones. They were said to dwell in the deepest darkness, feeding on fear and despair. Their touch could unravel the fabric of reality itself. The elders believed that the Shadow Weavers are behind the growing darkness, that they were somehow seeping onto their world. Ivan Gora struggled to reconcile the tale of the very real fear that now gripped their village. One evening, as the sky bled into a bruised purple, Ivan Gora's grandmother called him to her side. She was the oldest and wisest of their village, her eyes holding the knowledge of generations past, her voice so frail but steady as she spoke. "Ivan Gora, my boy," she began, her hands trembling slightly as she touched his face. "The darkness you feel is real. The Shadow Weavers are no mere legend." His grandmother's words hit him like a physical blow. He always dismissed the stories as folklore, but the look on his grandmother's eyes told him everything he needed to know. The Shadow Weavers were real, and they were a threat to everything he held dear. A strange sensation began to stir within Ivan Gora, a warmth that spread from his chest outward. It felt like a long dormant part of him was waking up, something ancient and powerful. He didn't understand it, but it filled him with a strange sense of urgency, a need to protect his village, his family, his world. His grandmother, her gaze unwavering, continued, "You carry the blood of the protectors, an ancient lineage tasked with guarding the Veil. The power within you is awakening." She placed a hand on his chest, right where the warmth seemed to emanate from. "You must learn to control it, to fight back against the darkness." The revelation that he was a protector, a descendant of the very people who battled the shadows, sent a jolt through Ivan Gora. It was a destiny he had never imagined, a burden he never asked for. But as he looked into his grandmother's eyes, he saw not fear, but a flicker of hope. His grandmother spent the next few days sharing with Ivan the secrets passed down through generations of protectors. She spoke of the veil, a delicate balance of light and shadow, and how the Shadow Weavers sought to unravel it for their own wicked purposes. She taught him about the ancient spells that flowed through their bloodline, spells of protection, of summoning, of harnessing the very essence of light. With each passing hour, the strange warmth inside Ivan Gora grew stronger. He practiced the spells, his movements clumsy at first, then becoming more fluid, more powerful. He could feel the magic coursing through his veins, responding to his will. He was no longer just Ivan Gora. He was a protector, the last of his kind, and the fate of the villagers, perhaps even the world, rested on his shoulders. The peace of the village was shattered in a heartbeat. The swelling cloud above the village descended amongst the vortex of shadows that blocked out the sun. From its heart emerged creatures of nightmare, the Shadow Weavers, their forms shifting and writhing, their eyes burning with cold, malevolent light. At their forefront stood a figure that radiated power, taller and more menacing than the others. His eyes, two pinpoints of crimson fire, fixed on Ivan Gora. So, the last protector decides to show himself, their leader boomed, his voice like grinding stone. You are just a mere flicker of light in a dying world, Ivan Gora. Your efforts are futile. Terror gripped the villagers, their screams echoing through the chaos. Ivan Gora, though almost overwhelmed by fear, stood tall, his grandmother's words ringing in his ears. Find your courage, Ivan Gora. The light within you is stronger than any shadow. He drew a deep breath, closed his eyes, and focused. He could feel the power within him surge, answering his call. He was ready to fight. The Shadow Leader, his form crackling with dark energy, lunged at Ivan Gora. The air around him crackled and popped with malevolent power, but Ivan Gora was ready. He raised his hands, his grandmother's teachings flooding his mind. He spoke the words of power, his voice echoing with newfound strength. A wave of shimmering light erupted from Ivan Gora. He remembered his grandmother's words about the importance of memory, of drawing strength from the past. He closed his eyes and pictured their home, the laughter of friends, the warmth of his grandmother's embrace. Each memory added fuel to the fire within him. Beams of light shot from his fingertips, striking the Shadow Weavers and sending them into their dark wind. He conjured shields of pure energy, deflecting their attacks. It was a whirlwind of light, a beacon of hope against the encroaching darkness. The battle raged, shaking the foundations of the village. The Shadow Weavers, fueled by their leader's malevolence, fought with a ferocity that belied their shadowy forms. Ivan Gora, though powerful, got tired. He had never faced such raw, consuming darkness before. As the fight intensified, Ivan Gora felt a tugging sensation, a pulling at his very core. He looked up and gasped. The swelling vortex of shadows above the village was growing, tearing a gaping hole in the fabric off the sky. The veil was being ripped apart. You cannot stop it, Protector, the Shadow Leader sneered, his voice dripping with triumph. The veil will fall, and our world will consume yours. Darkness will reign supreme. He raised his hands, and the vortex was threatening to unravel the very fabric of their world. Despair threatened to engulf Ivan Gora. He had fought bravely, but it wasn't enough. The veil was tearing and the darkness was pouring through. What hope did he have against such overwhelming power? As if sensing his doubt, the image of his grandmother, her eyes filled with unwavering faith, flashed through his mind. He remembered her final words to him. The light within you connects you to every protector who came before. Call upon them, Ivan Gora. Their strength will be yours. With a surge of desperate hope, Ivan Gora closed his eyes and reached out with his mind. Beyond the present, beyond his own memories, he delved into the echoes of the past, seeking the strength of his ancestors, the legacy that flowed through his veins. He pleaded for their guidance, their power, their light. As Ivan Gora reached out, the world around him seemed to fall silent. The sounds of battle, the cries of the villagers, the very howling of the wind all faded away. He was enveloped in a profound stillness, a sense of timeless connection. Then he felt it, a wave of power, ancient and vast, surged into him. Visions of protectors past, men and women who have stood where he stood battling the darkness throughout the ages. His fairy godmother, Lady Sonora, wove her incantations around Ivan Gora, cocooning him in shimmering threads of magical protection. Her whispered powers fortified Ivan Gora's strength and held him steady as the powers of his ancestors seeped into him. He felt their strength, their courage, their unwavering belief in the light flowing into him, making him whole. He was no longer alone. He was the culmination of generations of protectors. Their strength, his strength, their memories, his memories, their light, his light. The warmth within him blazed into a blinding radiance, banishing the fear, the doubt, the despair. He was ready to face the darkness once more. Ivan Gora opened his eyes, and they blazed with the combined light of 1,000 suns. He raised his hands, no longer just the little boy Ivan Gora, but a conduit for the power of his ancestors. The air around him crackled with raw energy. He focused his will on the tearing veil, on the shadow leader who watched with a flicker of surprise in his crimson eyes, with a roar that shook the very foundations of the world. Ivan Gora unleashed the full might of his lineage. The light struck the shadow leader with the force of 1,000 thunderstorms, throwing him back. A vortex of shadows shuddered, then began to shrink as the blinding light forced it back, the torn edges of the veil slowly knitting together. The fabric of reality mended. The light faded, leaving behind a stunned silence. The shadow weavers were gone, banished back to the donjon of darkness from whence they came. The shadow leader had vanished, his scream echoing in the fading vortex. Above the sky was clear, stars shining brightly as if cleansed by the light. Ivan Gora, exhausted, he collapsed to his knees. The battle was over. The light had worn, and Ivan Gora, the last protector, had awakened. Ivan Gora, triumphant, returned home, his wings now woven with constellations. He became the luminary protector, the bridge between worlds. His symbols glowed in victory. As a way to give back, Ivan Gora taught other children how to use their inner strength and find the magic that lies within. His people thrived, and Ivan Gora's eyes held the universe, the guiding star for all who dared to dream. This tale reminds us that bravery lies not in grand battles, but in the quiet moments when we choose hope over despair. All the best in your daily dealings. Embrace the losses and wins as you await another intriguing episode on the adventures of Ivan Gora.